Hello, everyone. Alex Trujillo from Flight Scope here again. This week, we're going to talk a little bit about home simulation. So I see people joining on. We have a few questions already on here, and let's go ahead and get started. So I got a question in the portal. Let's see what we got. So we got a question from Rick. Morning. Any update on back order status for Mevo Plus? Rick, easiest thing to do is give us a call or email us with your order information, and we can give you an updated timeline on when you should receive it. They have been coming in, and we have been shipping them out, so just depends on where you are on that list. Okay, so let's just let's quickly talk about simulation and the package that comes with. Let's cover Mevo Plus with E6, and also now the X3 bundle with E6. Give me 1 second to share my video here. Alrighty. Hey guys, I'm back. All right. Sorry about that. Not sure what happened there. Had a little technical difficulty with the PC and the software. Can anybody who's on, can you just give me a thumbs up that you can hear and see me? I hope everybody can still see me. Cool, awesome. Alrighty, so let's talk about the E6 bundle that comes. We'll start Mevo Plus first. So when you purchase a Mevo Plus, it's going to come with a 5-course package, the 17 driving ranges, and the 1 mini game. You also have the option of upgrading that subscription package, which I have here. The first one would be $300 a year, and you get 12 rotating courses. You get 17 practice ranges, access to new content every month, online events, peer-to-peer play, and then just the rotating content, so to speak. Then you also have the expanded subscription, which is the $600 a year. That one gives you 90 plus simulated golf courses. There's a whole list here. Oh, it looks pretty good. And then you basically get access to all the content, not including the licensed content like Pebble Beach and things like that. So The other option that our users have is also TGC, or the golf club. I've heard a lot of good feedback about this. I know that they have the option of where you can actually design your own golf courses and kind of make your own, basically your own virtual golf course. Graphics, I heard, are pretty decent. Their pricing, I don't want to list all of the pricing, but I have two pricings. I have Euro and I have USD. So US is 960 and Euro is 850. We also have some pricing if you're going to transfer, like if you're coming from a competitor and you want to come to FlyScope, there is some pricing on that if you already have TGC. Currently, TGC is integrated with X3 and Mevo Plus, which includes putting. The XI Tour series is also being integrated to that as well. Actually, I think it's live. So no putting with XI Tours. So for Kevin, there's your answer. TGC is coming to XI Tour. The Peter, the subscription that we sell with the X3 and the Mevo Plus, or that it comes with now, is iOS only, and you do have the option of pushing that up to the PC version. So I have a question. There's 3 questions here in the portal, and guys, feel free to ask me all the questions you have. I'm going to go through some setup things with simulation, but the more questions you have, the better. I have a question here on from Benjamin that asks, when are the Android versions of E6 and Skills coming? So there is FS Skills for Android. As far as E6 goes, I'd have to ask True Golf. I don't know if they have any plans for Android. I know at the moment it's only PC or iOS. And then a question from Sudi, which is the E6 package iOS only? It is only E6, or it is only iOS. You can upgrade to the PC version. All right, so let's talk a little bit about setup. So with the Mevo Plus, when you guys receive your unit, you're going to see what we call the simulator angle tool. It's a little red tool that you place on top of the unit, and it will put your unit at 12 degrees. So in simulation, it is very important that you use that tool so that the Mevo Plus is at 12 degrees. 2 important things for setup is, 1, you want to make sure that you're hitting your full shots from 8 feet center to tee. So, and you can set that up, initially into your software. Then the putting should be done from 7 feet center to tee. So just mark out your 2 locations and make sure that you hit from 8 and you putt from 7. Another thing that's important is for full swing and chipping and things of that sort that you're going to be doing from 8 feet, you do have to have your metallic dot on the golf ball, and that should be facing the target or the net. And then for putting, you should try to putt with a ball that doesn't have a dot. I've used it both ways. It doesn't really make that huge of a difference. However, the dot can create interference in putting, so that's why if you can, use it without the dot. But for the most part, it's been really, really good even with the dot on there. So I know I was using it at the show that way too. So and then your ball flight, you want to make sure that obviously you have at least 8 feet. The more ball flight you can give it, the better. So that's basically the setup. The other thing that's important, we've been getting a lot of questions on this, is, so let's say you're in an environment where you're hitting off of a hitting mat. So the unit, let's say, is on the ground and the mat is maybe 2 inches thick. So that's the setup we have in our cage. We've heard of some people that are actually trying to raise the unit up to be at the same level as the mat is, or as the ball is. And we actually would discourage that. We would actually prefer the unit be on the ground and the ball be up on the mat, and then you can just enter your tee surface height, because that can cause some interference. To that valley in between the unit and the hitting mat can cause some disturbances. So obviously your best environment would be that the Mevo is perfectly flat on the hitting surface. So kind of like what we had at the show, where it was just one big mat. that's the nicest setup, so to speak. But if you are on a hitting mat and the unit is on the ground, then just make sure you leave the unit on the ground. You don't have to raise it up to the same level. Now, you also don't want the ball to be like 5 to 6 inches above the radar. You don't want that. Either 1 or 2 inches is fine. And then always remember that you never want the radar above the ball. So that ball should never be below the horizon of the unit. So questions here says 7 feet Mevo Plus putting. What about X3 putts? Thought it was 5 feet. So with the X3 setup, you're going to have your sensor to tee distance. Full swing will be, I think it's between 8 to 10 feet. And then your putting you could do at in the short game, it is 5 feet. In E6 simulation, it is 7 feet. So you don't have to worry about moving it back to 5. So Giov has a question about who do I need to talk to about TGC to the XI Tour, FlyScope or TGC? You can call either one of us. Feel free to give us a ring, and then we can get you the information. I have a question from Tony that says, will the FSVX be coming to Mevo Plus? So the plan is that we're trying to basically do an integration of all of our apps, with the exception of skills, into one app. And that app will basically be FS Golf. And then you'll have FS Golf and FS Skills. That'll be the only 2 apps, but everything will be into FS Golf, including what's in VX. However, there is work being done that the Mevo Plus can connect to VX and can be used for the time being. So a question from Peter says, do you set the tee height as the height of the mat or the height of the ball on the tee? So that's a great question. We only want to know the ground level difference. So, let's say that the radar is here and the mat is 2 inches up. That we just want to know that difference. We don't really care too much about the tee because the radar can actually see the ball on the tee. And when you're on a tee, you're probably going to have driver selected. So for our units, the type of club, like is it a 7-iron or a 6-iron, that doesn't matter. The only thing the unit wants to know is it an iron, a wedge, or a driver? And the reason for that is just because of the head shapes. So the radar basically prepares itself or enhances its vision to, okay, I should expect to see the shape of a driver, or I should expect to see the shape of an iron or a wedge, so on and so forth. Any issues with a Mevo Plus living right in front of a mirror? I mean, other than seeing itself, it shouldn't bother it. It's not going to bother the radar. In front of metal, then, anything metal or metallic, then yes. Or anything spinning like a fan, a computer fan, anything like that. Willie Batten says, why does FlyScope limit the data points with the E6? So, Willie, I'm not sure if you're referring to X3 or Mevo Plus. I know that there was a bug where they did remove some data parameters from E6, but no, we're open to them showing what like for example E6 and Mevo Plus. If they wanted to show all the data parameters, we're happy to do that. But they limit it to just a few different parameters. There was a bug in the software where they removed, I think they had removed like club head speed and maybe smash factor, but that should have been updated. Peter, magnetic interference can create interference. Shouldn't, as long as it's not too close. I just never put the unit near a magnet. So like you don't want it to come in contact with a magnet because there is parts in there. I mean, there's electronic parts in there that it could damage. So. Russell has a question about the video ratio 4:3 or 16:9. I think that's going to be more specific to your setup as far as whether you're using a projector or whatever the case may be. If you have specific questions on the actual ratio, support would be the best to contact on that. To be honest with you, I've never messed with the ratio on the projector. So I'm sorry that I don't know the answer to that question. I will find out for you, but yeah, contacting support, they have a lot more experience with the ratios of different projections and stuff. Fluorescent lighting can create issues for the radars, especially if it's low hanging fluorescent lighting. What we would recommend is that you insert a metallic mesh over the lights if you can't replace them or move them higher, and that should help block the, I guess, the frequency of the noise that the lights create. We can also take an environmental sample of your environment and figure out whether there is disturbance coming from those lights. So Keith question says E6 remove club data, path, face, etc. may update and it hasn't been restored. If that was for X3, I will make sure to make a note of it. I know our support team is aware that they did remove this information, and I will ask them what the status is of that coming back in to E6. Ralph has a question. I got a fridge in my garage about 3 feet next to where I plan to place the Mevo Plus. Shouldn't be a problem. Just don't have the refrigerator in front of the radar. So, which obviously you wouldn't be able to have anyways, because then you can't hit golf balls. So as long as to the side or behind it, it should be fine. But if you're experiencing like missed shots or missed triggers, call our support team and then they can do an environmental sample and they'll be able to tell you if it's causing interference. Keith, XI Tour. Okay, I'll let them know. I'll let them know when they plan to restore that. Just make a note here. Awesome. So pretty much, I mean, those are the main things to remember. Is the setup. You know, the 8 feet for Mevo Plus, 8 feet for full swing, 7 feet for putting. You can take the same recommendations for X3. The metallic dot on the ball is important for full swings, and then have a ball that doesn't have one for putting. Like I said, with the putting and the dot, it's not a huge thing, but I know that the engineers always ask that it just be removed. We have a question from Axel that says, when using E6 with X3, I'm using a hitting mat, which is about 1 inch high. Putts won't get recognized. As the X3 need to see the whole putt since the ball drops off the mat after a foot. Yes, Axel, for putting, what I recommend is that the unit should be on the same level surface as the ball. So for example, in our hitting cage, we have a mat. And what we do is I basically set up the radar right down the edge of the mat. That's kind of like my target line. And so I hit my full swings to the left on the mat, and then I hit my putts from the right side of it on the ground. So it's just kind of nice too, because it kind of acts like a target line. So if you do have that setup where the mat is, you're hitting off of a mat, the putting is going to be difficult trying to putt off the mat, because obviously the radar is looking at the ball. So, and it does see it for a pretty long distance. So it will see that drop off and it's going to disregard your putt. A question from Adrian that says, why does Wi-Fi keep disconnecting with Android? Adrian, I'm not sure which application you're referring to, but I would recommend that you contact our support team. There could be something with the Wi-Fi dongle of the unit, or maybe it's an app that needs to be updated. I do know that with Android, I believe version 6 or later has to be used, for example, with FS Golf or VX. So. Okay, question here. We have a question from Benjamin Richard, a cheeky question. It says, I was watching the Charles Schwab Challenge, and Bryson was at the practice range warming up Thursday when he was using GC Quad. Do you have any comment on this? Yes, he's actually he's been doing that for a while now. So on the course, or let's call it on the range, he actually will use both devices. And it's for him, it's just a verification. So he'll look at ball speeds and spins, and then he just basically verifies that he's getting the same number. So, for example, he can, on the putting green, he's just looking for speeds, and so he sets that up. What happens a lot of the times is that the camera is set up on the view where you only see the quad and you're not seeing his X3. But yeah, he will use both units to get verifications. For those of you who maybe have had the I guess privilege of meeting him, he does that with just everything. He always wants to verify. Like he has to get 2 or 3 numbers to make sure that he's okay. I can plan on using this. So just a verification tool that he uses. But good question. Question from Russell says, for left and right-handed golfers situation, will the Mevo need to be moved at 8 feet behind? So my recommendation is, if you're going to have both handedness, then I recommend that you set up, if you're on a mat, I recommend that you set up the Mevo right through the middle of the mat so that both, golfers can stand on either side, and then you don't have to be moving the unit. However, if the golfers are going to be hitting from different locations, then it is important that you move the unit to be directly behind them and in line with the ball and the target. What's nice about the setups where the mat is all one flat surface is that, like at the show, I don't know, for those of you who saw our show setup, we basically had it right in the middle of the simulator. It was all one flat surface, and so right or left-handed golfer could hit. Yeah, Benjamin. Yeah, he's pretty obsessed with science. So I can't begin to tell you all the stories of the time I've spent with him. And I mean, I've been on ranges with literally, 2 flight scopes, phantom cameras from the side, from above, 3D modeling of his body. And he will look at he will go down every rabbit hole. There's no question about it. So it's been pretty cool to work with him. Learned a lot. So Peter has a question. So Maga Strike mat where the hitting surface hovers over magnets will not interfere with the Mevo Plus. They shouldn't, because they're kind of in front. As long as the Mevo is not too close with them, they shouldn't. Again, I've never used one, so I don't want to give you a 100% confident answer, but they should not interfere. However, if you are seeing like missed triggers, or missing club data or any type of data in your software, then we can do an environmental sample and see if there's interference. Alejandro is asking, how should I set the radar to pick up putts, and how long should the ball roll before it falls off the mat? Also, spin and metallic stickers on the ball. So for putting, you do want to give the unit the ability to at least read the putt for, I would say, a minimum of 3 to 5 feet. The more it can track, the more accurate it's going to be within simulation. And you shouldn't have the metallic sticker on there for putting. For full swing, then you do want to have the metallic sticker facing the target and away from your club face. And that's just so you don't keep knocking the dots off. So I think I've gone through most of the questions here. Sam asks, sorry for the late to the meeting. Does the XI Tour offer putting and simulation? No, it does not. So the only units that do putting and simulation is the Mevo Plus and the X3. The XI Tour will do simulation, but it will not do putting. And that brings me to another point as far as setting up for putting. I believe that putting and simulation can be pretty tedious. So when I play simulation, I want to have fun. So what I typically do is I set up gimmies inside 5 feet. And so I putt out to basically anything inside 5 feet. It's a gimme. So you can set it up to where you have to putt out on the hole. But like I said, that's just going to make it long and stuff like that. I like playing fast golf. So, yeah, Axel made a comment about Creative Golf. Creative Golf does work with X3. It is really nice software too. There is also another software. It's called Awesome Golf, and it also works Mevo Plus, and that one's pretty cool. That's kind of like more of like interactive. You have to. There's one where you can like hit a boat and kind of blows up and it gets destroyed, things like that. So there's a few different options. Yeah, Tony says he does 10 feet gimmies. I kind of agree too. Question, or Benjamin says, can you point the dot to the top? You can. We do recommend that the dot is facing forward. Just so you guys know that the radar can actually see through the dielectric cover of the golf ball or the material. And so the dot facing forward actually acts as it's actually magnified. On the other side, the radar sees it bigger. So that's one of the reasons why it should be facing forward. The other reason is so that you obviously don't knock it off you don't keep knocking it off your club with the grooves, and also so that we can get at least one full revolution. I think our projector is an Epson. I think it's a big boy. I don't know the model number, but I can get it to you. Any other questions? Anybody want to come on air and ask a question or comment? I'm trying to get somebody to come on, and maybe that'll break the ice, and we'll start having more people join me on this. It gets lonely in here. I need somebody to talk to. Question from Angel. It says, what E6 packages are available for existing X3 customers purchased a year ago? Angel, you can contact us, and we can see what we can do to help you. We do have, you can use the subscription portion of it, so the $300 to $600 subscriptions. But just give us a call, and we'll try to see what we can do to help you. Alrighty, guys. Well, I think scrolling through here, I've answered most of the questions. I know that we're on Thursday. Henry and myself will be doing the short game webinar, and so I hope to see you guys in there. Sorry for the technical difficulties we had early on. I'm not sure what happened there. But thanks again for joining. If you guys have any questions, feel free to email us, sales@flyscope.com or support@flyscope.com, and we'll help you out in any way we can. So thanks again, and we'll see you guys on Thursday.